To read a point in the coordinate plane, first find the corresponding x and y values. The point is identified by these two values. Let's break it down. Imagine you had a piece of paper with two dots on it, and you wanted to identify each of these dots by their position. You could set up a ruler on the page and use it to measure the position of each dot. So this dot is at position 2 and this one is at position 4.
But what if two dots have the same horizontal position but are at different heights of the page?
Good question. If we had two dots like this that both had position 4, we could set up a second ruler on the page and use one of these rulers to measure the horizontal position and one of the rulers to measure the vertical position of each dot.
So we could identify each dot by both its horizontal and vertical position?
Exactly. So, for example, this point has horizontal position 2 and vertical position 1. This point has horizontal position 4, vertical position 1, and this point has a horizontal position of 4 and a vertical position of 3. This is actually very similar to a tool we use in math, but instead of rulers, we use two number lines, one that's horizontal and one that is vertical. The horizontal number line that goes left to right is called the x-axis, and this vertical one is called the y-axis. Together, they form what we call the coordinate plane.
So just like the dots on the page were identified by how they lined up with the rulers, a point on the coordinate plane can be identified by where it lines up with the x and y axis?
Right. Here's an example of a coordinate plane with some cities at different locations. Each city on this coordinate plane has a unique x and y value. Let's look at Dallas, for example. What do you think the x value is?
Well, you said that the x-axis is the horizontal number line. So is the x value where it lines up with that line?
Exactly.
In that case, since Dallas lines up with number 2 on the x-axis, I think the x value of Dallas is 2.
Nicely done. What about the y value?
The y-axis is the vertical number line. Dallas lines up with the number -4 on the y-axis, so I think the y value of Dallas is -4.
Right. So now we've established that Dallas has an x value of 2 and a y value of -4. The standard way of writing the x and y value of a point is to first list the x value and then the y value separated by a comma and surrounded by parentheses like this. So this is our solution. When we have an x and y value together like this, it's called an ordered pair.
What if I wrote -4 2 instead of 2 -4?
Since the first value in an ordered pair always corresponds to the x value and the second is always the y value, this point -4, 2 actually has a different location on the coordinate plane. It would be over here at -4, 2.
How do I remember if the x or y value is listed first?
Good question. For me, I always imagine a little man walking around with a ladder trying to get to a point on the plane. First, he must go to the right place on the x-axis, and then he must climb up or down his ladder to get to the right y value. Just like our little man first had to walk to the right position on the x-axis before going up or down to the right position on the y-axis, whenever we're listing a point, we first list the position on the x-axis and then the position on the y-axis.
So, to read a point in the coordinate plane, first find the corresponding x value and then find the corresponding y value. The point is identified by these two values.
Right.